Where my girls at?
Can you hear me?
Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Free spirit. Where my girls at? Where my girls at? It's going down. Yeah, we link up in a cool minute. It don't take a lot for us to link up. We are always looking for opportunities to link up. Well, you guys, you are tuned in to. We got issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF. It is based out of Detroit, but you can hear it all over the world. I am your host on today, Crisette Ellis, from the D. And I am here with my girlfriend, Caterina Harris Earl on the West Coast, Oakland, California. And then Gloria Mayfield Banks is present, Ellicott City, Maryland. And I don't know where Sabrina is. Where our girl Sabrina at? If y'all find Sabrina, tell her we got a radio show called We Got Issues. And it starts at 6 o'clock. And yes, I am being messy on today. Okay, so maybe she's gonna call in on the radio, but we'll see. So it's a all points bulletin. Where's Sabrina at, y'all? Where's Sabrina at? Nobody talks.
I bet she got a hat on wherever she is. I bet she got a hat on.
She probably does. But we are so excited to be here. Oh my goodness. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. I know in the D, oh my goodness, the weather was picture perfect. When I tell you I'm a sun child. The sun was out. It was over 8. It got up to 90 degrees. It was absolutely picture perfect weather. And so whenever we get, some sunny days in the D, you have to appreciate them and be super, super vigilant and making sure that you do something, because it can that's like the chilly, but it's all good. So much is going on. And let me just say this. I am so excited, you guys, about our show on today. I'm going to introduce our guest in just a few minutes. But for those of you that are in the Detroit metropolitan area, you absolutely want to tune in even a little deeper on today, because our guest is from Detroit and she is running for political office. She is running for the 13th Congressional district, and we're excited about her. She's the CEO of Focus Hope. And anybody from Detroit, if you don't know about Focus Hope and you're from Detroit, you ain't from Detroit. Okay, we're going to tell you to turn in your card if you don't know about Focus Hope. So we're going to be talking about inflation and working families. How do you make it? I mean, how do you make it on a budget when, you're working, doing all that you can do, but the prices continue to go up? So that's going to be our topic. And I'm sure if you have questions for her as a candidate, she would love to answer them. So we're going to ask you to call in and lean into the conversation on today. Of course, you can call us at 313-778-7600. Again, that's 313-778-7600. So let's check in with the girls. I don't know how much news. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of news, but what I do know, and you guys can just chime in, is there's so many mass shootings. And I know we don't want to harp on that. We want to get to our guests, but it's just hard to ignore. And the thing about it is it's becoming so common that you kind of start to ignore it. Like, oh, it's what happened in the news? Oh, another mass shooting. And you continue to eat, continue to do whatever you're doing. And I was actually talking to Sabrina earlier today, and we were just talking about these shootings. And the sad thing about it is they're happening in places that were unheard of years ago. You would never, ever in a million years imagine that anybody would go to a church, let alone go in a church and start shooting in a church. You would never in a million years. In the parking lot, okay? You would never in a million years think that somebody would go to an elementary school and open fire. I mean, grocery store. I mean, and I said, Sabrina, it's almost with your life of doing your regular routines, it's Russian roulette. I almost have to pray, Lord.
Go to the movies, go to college. It's
absolutely crazy. So Gloria, I mean, talk to us a little bit about, how you're feeling, what's going on.
Well, first I want to tell you, I'm grateful for the weather here in Baltimore. I know you're looking sunny out there in Detroit, but the weather in Baltimore is fabulous. When I tell you I'm a happy chick, I'm a happy chick when it's warm here. But I'm going to beg us all not to get sidetracked by so many mass shootings that we don't talk about it. Don't get sidetracked that we've heard about Ukraine for over 100 days, that we don't talk about it. These things still need to be talked about. And there's so much that we need to be talking about. And you know what? We can't take it all on, but what we can take on, we can keep the conversation, because as they hope we let it go, as they hope we get tired of it, as they hope that it doesn't stay a passionate topic of ours, it is a very big topic. They said that over 17 people got killed this weekend in mass shootings, not just shootings, just in mass shootings. And then when you hear that guns are the number one killer of children, not car accidents, not planes, guns. It's mind blowing in every which way it's going. It's mind blowing. So we got to keep talking about it. We got to keep demanding it. We got, just like January 6th. We can't stop talking about January 6th. It happened over a year and a half ago, but it's that important. Just because it's not in the news today, although it's coming back up this week, we can't stop talking about it. Every time we talk about it, we can't stop, because we have a responsibility to turn this earth over to somebody else for our kids to be here. So I have decided that although it's a lot, I can't get so emotionally engrossed that I have to turn it off. I want to stay vigilant. I mean, at least today I'm at that point where I just want to stay vigilant, because I think if we stay in the pressure point, something's got to change. It may not get all the way to where we want to go, but something's got to change. So, I'd love to hear as our callers call in and let us know, because, that's what makes radio so good, is that people have different opinions and we want different people's opinions. So I'm excited about this show. I'm excited about Detroit. I'm excited about the politics. I'm excited about Focus Hope. I'm excited to talk today.
Awesome. And, Gloria, you said something that was so important. We can't, after hearing so much, stick our head in the sand. This literally needs to be a sounding board when we go to to cast our vote. When we are talking to
Right.
people that are running for office, that needs to be talked about. It needs to be in their face. We need to know, what are you going to do about it? What is your platform? And if your platform doesn't have anything to do with gun control and how we can keep our children safe and all of that, then you know what? Maybe you're not the candidate. So we have to really press their feet to the fire when it comes to this issue for sure. Caterina looking good in that blue top. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, the girlfriends know I want to get to the topic, and so I'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. But the girlfriends know how vigilant we have been in the Earl household, and yet COVID has visited our household, and that's why I was absent for a portion of last week. Thank you for the girlfriends. And I will say that it does affect your energy. I'm so grateful for hardly very, very, very mild symptoms, but it affects your energy for real. However, on the topic you were talking about earlier, so there's a lot I'd love to say about that, and we could talk more about that on other shows this week. But as challenging as it was when we were shut in place, I know you talk about all those shootings. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? At least that was something we could control. And so it's so sad. I get so sad because while we've been quarantining, of course, we've caught up on all the news, and it's just one after another. Even some of them didn't even make. Do you know that? And the last thing I'll say, Chris, I'll pass it back to you. I mean, there was another one that seemed like it was only on the scroll. I mean, it was like it was the tickler at the bottom. And then someone sent me something about 70 kids got rescued from sex trafficking in Atlanta. I mean, y'all, there is stuff that is happening that doesn't even make the evening news.
Right.
70 kids in Atlanta.
70?
70, not 2. I mean, 2 is enough if it's your child.
Sex trafficking?
70 sex trafficking in America. And it's like, unless you just happen, it's unbelievable. In Atlanta, right in our back, right here in our backyard. So there's so much taking place, but I will say this, be vigilant, because in California, there is more, in the United States, there's more COVID than there's ever been. And California just reinstituted a mask mandate because it's that bad. And as vigilant as we were, here I sit. So still on quarantine, but on the radio.
Wow. Well, Caterina, we are so glad that you are feeling better. You sound better. You look better. You guys, this chick, right? One of her problems is she's like a night owl. She goes to bed late, gets up early. It's like, Caterina, we're going to need you to shut it down. We're like, if she call into the station, Michael, don't take her call. Don't let her on. She's supposed to be in the bed sleeping. So we're so glad that you're here with us today. And we absolutely are keeping Mama Purd and Anthony in our prayers, and that they are going to recover. So absolutely. Well, you guys, we're going to move into our topic for today. We got just a few minutes before we go to breaks, but I'm going to have our guests come on. I'm so excited to welcome to We Got Issues. Attorney Portia Roberson is with us on today, looking absolutely beautiful. Welcome to We Got Issues. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be such a great conversation. So again, we want you to call in and ask questions and let us hear your voice. That number is 313-778-7600. And today we're talking about inflation. We've all felt it. And we're talking about, working people. We all know people that get up, they have that 9 to 5, and they are working hard. But how do you work as hard as you work and be able to pay the prices that we see in the grocery store and the things that we use? And so according to Market Watch, inflation inequality is hitting the working class harder than at any other time on record. Families that rely on wage income from certain occupations such as clerical work, sales, and construction are paying more for gas, food, and vehicle price surges. And so these are all of the things that we all use, all need, to survive, to get to work. And so I know we're coming up on a break. I absolutely want to tell you a little bit about this phenomenal woman that is with us on today. I promise you, you're going to want to lean into this conversation. So we're going to go ahead and go to break. And when we come back, I am going to introduce to you guys attorney Portia Roberson. So stay tuned. You're listening to We Got Issues on 910 a.m. The Superstation. We're going to take this commercial break and we will be right back. All right, we are back. We are back, and you're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 910 a.m. The Superstation. And we're excited to have our guest here on today. Attorney Portia Roberson is our guest on today. And when I tell you we're excited to lean into this conversation, so let me just tell you a little bit about her. For those of you that live in the Detroit metropolitan area, I'm sure you know some things about her, but you don't know everything about her. Her bio is absolutely stellar. It reads as a bio of the who's who for sure. So I'm going to just give you a little snippet of it. Attorney Portia Roberson is a candidate, you all, for Michigan's 13th Congressional District. She is a native of Detroit. Yes, she is the daughter of the late Dalton Roberson, and she had no doubt that one day that she would rather, her dad. She earned her bachelor's degree in English from the University of Michigan and her law degree from Wayne State. With encouragement from her dad, she began her career in private practice, specializing in criminal defense and probate work. After 7 years, she became an assistant Wayne County prosecutor under Mike Duggan, and then she pivoted to transitional work as assistant general counsel for the Detroit Medical Center. You may not know, but she was the Wayne County political director for former President Barack Obama's presidential campaign in 2018, and that's so exciting, right? And from there, she worked as corporation counsel under the then Detroit Mayor Dave Bing, and then the head of the Civil Rights and Inclusion and Opportunity under Mayor Duggan. Now, this is what really gets me excited. She is currently the CEO of Focus Hope. She oversees a budget, you ready for this, of $28 million and a staff of about 180. The Detroit-based nonprofit, which serves Washtenaw, Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties, feeds 42,000. Let me say that again, 42,000 seniors each month, and provides training, workforce training for 500 to 1,000 people regularly. She has many community connections. She's a member of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. You like that, Gloria, because Ken has done that. The Council of Agricultural, Small Business, and Labor, and a member of the Michigan Civil Rights Commission. She was the first Black woman to serve on the City of Detroit's Police and Fire Pension Board. It is an honor to have joining us today.
Wow.
Yes, attorney Portia Roberson. Come on, Jalen, give her a big hand. Yes.
Ladies,
welcome.
I am literally thrilled to be here. First of all, I feel like I fit right in. It's like girlfriends talking about political and world issues. So I want to jump in. When you all were having your earlier talk, I was like, yes, gun control. What are we doing about that? How do you not get to the point where you're just desensitized to it, because it's happening all over the country? I spoke this weekend at a couple of locations, and I kept talking about how, for the first time in my life, at least, I'm thinking about where I'm shopping and where the exits are when you're shopping, where, when you go to church, where is the exit? Who else is in church with you? Does somebody look unfamiliar to you? And it's amazing and crazy that we are thinking about it in that respect. And as Crisette said, I lead a nonprofit called Focus Hope. And one of the things that we also do there is early education. So we have a Head Start and an early Head Start program. And, I'm thinking about, how do I lock down the program so that the kids are in safely, but not lock down the program so if something else should happen, the kids are prevented from getting out, or we can get folks out quickly. And so it is an incredible time to try to lead an organization where you want to be a community organization where people feel very invited and that we can give them the assistance or help that they need, but also being very protective of not only the people we serve, but also of the employees that work there. We've slowly transitioned back onto campus as COVID has sort of lifted. But we know that still there's so much going on that we can't necessarily throw open our campus like we would have done pre-COVID and pre all of these mass shootings. So we're just really trying to stay focused on making sure we serve people in the way that we should, but also being very protective of them. So I just love that you all are having this conversation, because too often people don't understand that Black women move the world. And so when we start talking about issues, when we raise issues, when we make politicians talk about issues, we put them at the forefront. And so I'm thrilled to be here and talk a little bit more about what I'm doing at Focus Hope and what I'm doing in my other choices, which means running for office in Congress.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is so, I'm leaning in right now. You really hit on a lot of other issues within the issue. I'm serious. When you talk about gun control and you're talking about, you go to church and you're supposed to be able to go to church and freely worship, but it's hard to freely worship when somebody comes in and it's summer and they got on an overcoat. You're like, okay,
Right.
now
Right.
it's 90
Right.
degrees and you got on an overcoat. Yeah, that's a problem. So yeah, it is so many issues attached to that. So I want you to talk to us a little bit. I know, those that are listening from the Detroit metropolitan area, and then there might be some that don't know anything about Focus Hope. I do know that it was established in 1968 by Father William Cunningham and Eleanor Josias. And it was following the 1967 riots that they thought that this was so needed. And I know growing up in the city of Detroit, I remember, the opportunities that Focus Hope provided people to get training, especially individuals who, didn't see themselves going to college or could not afford to go to college. Focus Hope has always been a staple in the community, a beam of light for people that wanted to learn a skill and be able to put food on, on the kitchen, on their family's table. So talk to us a little about the work that you're doing at Focus Hope and why that is so needed today.
So you are absolutely right. We've been around for 54 years. I've been at Focus Hope, at the helm of Focus Hope, for about 4 years now. When I came in, I like to point out, because sometimes people think that nonprofits don't have to be a financially sound organization. When I came in, we had about $7 million worth of debt. I worked really hard without laying off anybody to make sure that we could get rid of that debt so we could spend all of the money that we get from funders on our programs to help people. And we're really proud of that. And then certainly after we got out of debt and we had a little money to put aside, we immediately raised our pay to $15 an hour. We didn't wait on the federal government to do that. We decided that everybody who had been working for the last couple of years through this pandemic deserved to at least make $15 an hour. And I am certainly in this climate well aware that $15 is not enough, but as a nonprofit, that's a start for us, right? So we do workforce training, as you mentioned. We have a Food for Seniors program, 42,000 seniors per month, which is absolutely crazy. And I talk all the time about wanting them to put me out of that business, because that would mean none of our seniors are food insecure. But the truth is, right now, there are seniors who are food insecure. And so we provide a monthly food box so that it will supplement whatever else they may be giving. Now, I'll be honest with you, during the height of the pandemic, it was, for a lot of our seniors, the only thing they were getting, because their families were not comfortable dropping off a plate, right? Their families were not comfortable going to the grocery store and bringing them things, simply because the exposure, the possibility of exposing their loved ones to COVID. So we expanded that a little bit. We partnered with other organizations to make sure we could add more to the supplemental food box. And then, as I mentioned, we do early education. So we like to say we have our babies, and then we go all the way up to our seniors, and we try and provide wherever somebody needs to come into our doors. We try to provide the services they need, or we try to send them somewhere else who may do those services better than we do. So, we look at it in the lens of, but for the grace of God, go I. Any one of us that come in the doors of Focus Hope and need that help, and we want to make sure we do it in a very respectful manner. But I'm really proud of it and really keyed into it right now, because the cost of everything has gone up. Just everything. I mean, I'm literally making choices now about my employees, how often they need to come into the office, because I recognize that, driving to work now is a real choice about whether or not you're going to be able to feed your family for a whole week or fill up your gas tank. And so I'm starting to think now, how often do I need people to come into the office? We've been getting through it through COVID without having people come in. We've got to still think about that in relationship to how much things cost right now. And certainly supply chain issues. We got hit with the baby formula problem.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What are you doing? I mean, I remember that's one of the things that Focus Hope was known for, being able to support, sometimes teenage mothers and mothers that could not afford baby formula.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, initially when COVID hit, one of the first things we did is pivot. And so we had our families of our children who were in our Head Start or Early Head Start program, our babies, we started giving out, they drove up, curbside pickup, formula, wipes, snack packs, things that, we don't necessarily think about. But when you overnight have your children home an additional 8 hours a day, for a lot of folks, it wasn't just as simple as going out and going to the grocery store and getting in those long lines in the very beginning of the pandemic and just buying enough food because you didn't know when you could come back out. For a lot of folks, that wasn't an option. We were able to do that throughout the course of the pandemic. And then this supply chain issue and this baby formula issue hit. And so we were literally on the phone texting with other coworkers saying, hey, if you're out and you see this formula, and we were sending pictures to one another, get as much as you can. Don't hoard, because we were adamant that we would not hoard it or keep it away from other folks. But if you see it and you can get some, please get some, because otherwise we were going to have to slow down our program and leave and not let the babies come in because we didn't have formula to give them. So, you know, being conscious of that.
Portia,
really,
I'm going to have you. No, that's okay. We're going to go to this break. And when we come back, I definitely want you to finish your statement about, you know, baby formula, because that's at, you know, the forefront of the news. People are talking about it. I can't imagine being a mother and not having formula for my child. So we're going to return, talk about that. And then I want to talk a little bit about your run for Congress. When we come back, we're going to pay some bills. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship, 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We are back, and you are listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. We're so excited that our guest today is attorney Portia Roberson. She is a candidate for Michigan's 13th. Just a little bit of in a few minutes. Up what we were talking about right before the break. We were talking about the shortage of baby formula and how what's going on with that and Focus Hope. And then after that, we do have a caller. So hold on, William. We're going to come right to you in just a minute. Go ahead and finish your statement, Portia.
Well, I just think, it's so important to point out that it affected everyone. I mean, it affected larger programs like ours, but of course, there's a mother who's at home not knowing about an organization like Focus Hope and just very much worried about how she's going to feed her child. And these are things that I don't know that 10 years ago we even thought about the possibility of some of these things happening, right? You all were talking about, we didn't think about mass gun violence every weekend or every week. We didn't think about a global pandemic. We didn't think about shortages and supply chain. I've never talked so much about supply chain in my life. I've never heard so much about supply chain because it just wasn't on the radar. And so I think it's imperative that we have these kind of conversations because now we recognize that these things can happen and we need to be thinking about how we prepare for these kind of moments in our lives so that we can not necessarily avoid them, but certainly can handle them as they arise. And so, we're looking at ways in which, you don't want to, again, hoard or stock baby formula because you want everybody to have an opportunity to have it. But what do we need to put together so that we can help our families anytime they're in crisis? And sometimes when we're in crisis, we can make sure that they can still get what they need from us.
Right. Exactly. We're going to go to our caller. William, are you there? Hi, William.
Thank you for calling. Good. This is a very good conversation. Also, economics and politics, but I do have enough common sense to know that in school they teach in business, they teach about safety net, safety chain. When it comes to policy, when it comes to business, here we are in a war. I mean, it just hit us all at once. Okay, and it's like you hear every week we're sending $3 billion, we're sending $2 billion over to Ukraine. For this and that, and not hear on the radio. Come on, a baby, a short of food. Gerber. You understand? This is ridiculous. I mean, if you're going to have if you know something's going to happen, that's where you charge the safety net, the safety chain. There is no way in heck that we should be talking about shortage of Gerber baby food. Baby food. We got to protect our children. I mean, whatever's going on with Ukraine, I feel sorry for them, but what it has to do with our home, children, and mission. And
you know what?
Yeah.
Go ahead, William.
Nothing. I want, and that's what I expect my politicians to take care of. Take care of me home, take care of my family, take care of my quality of life. I have AIDS, and then whatever else, AIDS. Protect the world.
Okay. And William, you make a very good point. The saying, charity begins at home and then it's spread abroad. And so I hear what you're saying. We have all these issues at home. We're out of baby formula.
Off the chain, gas prices. I mean, you can't literally, I promise you, I'm even thinking about mapping out. Do I really need to go here If I don't need to go here, can I walk? Okay, let's talk about get up and move. Can I walk and not drive? So it's as a politician, it's hard. How do you and Portia, I'll let you answer that. How do you juggle the needs of the world? Of course, we've seen the atrocities that's taken place in Ukraine. How do you see that? But at home, you got a lot of issues. So how do you manage being charitable, but still making sure that your house isn't falling apart?
Yeah, I think that's exactly. Well, first of all, let me say this. You are exactly right. I'm thinking about my useless, needless trips to Target. They are no more for right now. I'm like, I don't need to just wander around the Target this afternoon. I need to stay at home because I don't need to burn gas going there for something I don't need. But on a serious note, I think that's exactly what we need in Congress is leaders who think about what we need to be doing at home as much as we want to be of assistance to other countries when they are in situations like Ukraine. But I'll go a step further. To be honest, we've got to look at how we support countries that are largely European versus countries that have Black and brown people. And have we sent as much money to those places as we're sending to assist in Ukraine? But I think the first step is home. We've got to find a way to make sure that we are taking care of the people that we represent. If we're in Congress, the people that we serve with our church, with our work, all of those things have to happen at home first before we can take care of anyone else. And I'll tell you, it's you hear it all the time. It's the airplane. It's right. Put on your oxygen mask first before you start trying to assist somebody else. And right now, we are in need of a little bit of our own oxygen mask before we can really push that out to somebody else. So that is really one of the reasons I decided to run for Congress is because we need to be having leaders who think about what we need to be doing in this case for the 13th district, but also for the state, for the city, for the world, for this country. We really need to make sure that our people, our American, people have the things that they need to have what really amounts to a life that is protected and a good life.
Portia, I'm so grateful that you said that. And we are on the brink of an election here in California. And I loved how you responded to what William said. It clearly is not a lack of resources. The blessing, we're so blessed here in America. The reality is there's enough for us to help here and at home. We can help the whole world. There's enough. We have to deal with the corporate greed and so many other things. And so I would love to hear more about your platform. And here in California, I sent this to the girlfriends. It takes 25% of people are living below poverty. And they say it takes to be above poverty in California, it takes $106,000 for a family of four. I mean, that just blew my mind. Gas has gotten up to it's $6.62 on average in California, and in Mendocino County, which is wine country right up the street from me, it's gotten up to $10 a gallon. Can you believe
what?
So $10? $10. Can you believe that? I mean, it's crazy. So no. I'm just telling you, so goes California. It's like we are always ahead, but that just lets you know it's not. Just to give you that. So I literally sit with my ballot, Portia, and I do the best research I can to try to understand the platform. You can't just go according to the commercials. Sometimes what you're voting for, it's written on purpose to be so complicated. You can't really tell if your no is no or if your no is actually a yes. So can you just talk about your own platform and give some advice? How do you become an informed voter? Because the bottom line is we do have resources. I know everything is limited, but we have a lot of resources. We just need the right people to be in control of the resources so that people that we care about get those resources. So can you talk about that?
Sure. I think the first thing I would do is encourage people to do their own research, right? For too long, people sort of listen to, and we still do to a certain extent, and that's okay to listen to family and friends and get their ideas about candidates. But it's also in this world of the internet, you can really look and kind of try to do your own research on candidates and see how they align with you on issues. whether they're talking about the kind of things that you want them to be talking about. One of the things that wasn't mentioned in my bio is after I worked on the 2008 Obama campaign, I actually was appointed by President Obama to the Justice Department. So I know a little bit about DC and Baltimore and living there. I moved to DC for a couple of years, but then President Obama started a program called Strong Cities, Strong Communities. And it really was to take people and embed them in 6 cities. It started with 6 cities. Detroit was one of them. I went over thinking I went over to the White House thinking I would kind of be one of those people that was weighing in from the Justice Department. But they said, if we're going to start this program in Detroit, it should be someone who's familiar with Detroit. So I came back home, even though I was still with the Obama administration. I came back home and literally worked in City Hall and found resources for the district. Because what you really want in a congressperson is someone who understands that part of being a congressperson is bringing home the bacon for your district, right? Bringing home the bacon for the people that you represent, that you're working on behalf of. And so we were able to bring almost $10 million home for the city of Detroit. This was back in 2012 to do some projects that otherwise were not going to be able to be funded. So I'm really proud of that. But the other piece is what
Portia,
I've done at Focus Health.
I'm gonna have you hold that thought. I hear the music in my ear. I know. I mean, the music comes on just when our guests are making a really good point, but we want you to hold that thought. We're gonna take this break, and when we come back, we want you to finish it. So we're gonna take this break. We'll be right back. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We'll be right back. We're back. We're back. We are back. And when I tell you, I am enjoying this conversation talking to attorney Portia Roberson, who is a candidate for Michigan's 13th Congressional District. And we're talking about, what do you look for in your politicians? How do you research? Because anybody can put together a good ad and tell you what they're going to give you, what they're going to do. But when the rubber hits the road, sometimes that doesn't happen. So that was a really good conversation. So Portia, I'm going to have you finish out your thought there. And I know Gloria has some questions that she wanted to ask.
Sure. So I just think one is, as I was mentioning, having somebody who's already brought home money to the city and wants to expand that to the district. But I also think that what differentiates me is that having provided direct services for the last 4 years means that when I am drafting legislation or voting on legislation or drafting policy, I have a distinct understanding of how it's going to help or in some cases hurt people in their day-to-day lives. So it's not, we should just do this because it sounds good. It's really about, I remember what it was like to give out food to our seniors and how we can expand to make sure that we have a box of food that's not just non-perishable food, but includes fruits and vegetables and meat products, things that people told us that seniors needed in the middle of COVID. Oh, go out and get fresh fruits and vegetables. It'll help your immune system. Well, everybody couldn't do that, right? Everybody couldn't rush out and do those kind of things. So I think what differentiates me and what I see as part of my platform or who I am as a candidate is the concept and the idea and the knowledge of what really helps people in their day-to-day lives. And this district is really diverse. It goes from Grosse Pointe, which for those of you who aren't here is a sort of wealthier enclave of this district. And it goes all the way downriver, which I consider a more working class district. But the needs are really the needs are really the same. The scale is different, but the needs are really the same. People want to be able to protect themselves, their families, but they also want to be able to feed their families. They want to be able to really basically just enjoy life, right? And provide good educational system for their children, those kind of things. So I take that knowledge, and that's what really was the reason why I decided to run for Congress.
Wow, so powerful. Caterina, you said you had another question?
Oh, I was going to jump in after Gloria, but I just want to know it's important for us to support candidates, not just in our own district. Can you just talk about that? I mean,
that's good.
I could support your campaign. I could support your platform. And even though it doesn't directly affect my neighborhood, it still affects because we're all in this together. So can you talk about that and how can we support your campaign?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for asking that question. My campaign is Portia, Portia, for Congress.com. You can go on there and learn more about the issues that are important to me. Hopefully they're issues that resonate with you. But, I've said over the course of the last few weeks, one thing I'll say is because this is a group of women, we have to encourage our young women to brag on themselves. One of the things I found most difficult in the last maybe 10 weeks or so, maybe a little bit longer that I've been out here is bragging on myself, right? Like my friends who are helping me, advising me, talking to me every day say, why don't you mention that you work for Barack Obama, that he appointed you to 2 different positions? That's huge, right? Because that's not what we do. We typically go in and just do work. We don't think about telling everybody. We're not on social media talking about it all the time. We just do the work. So I would say, definitely go on so you can learn more about me. But the other thing is it's really hard for women who are running for office to raise money. That's a huge challenge for us. I don't have a network where I just call up my, 6 richest friends and they can donate, the max to my campaign. So every dollar helps to support women candidates and Black women candidates in particular. So thank you so much for asking about that. Again, it's PortiaForCongress.com. And I'm excited about it because I really do think I bring to Congress, because I'm claiming it already, I'll bring to Congress an understanding of what has to happen to really support and help people in their daily lives, which is really what I want to do.
And you know what, Gloria, I'm going to have you jump in next. One of the things that I'm really, really enjoying about this conversation is the fact that you have been on the ground floor of it. You have seen it. You have pulled up your sleeves. You've been in the throes of it. It's, sometimes people talk from a knowledge of it, but not where they had literally had been on the ground floor with their hands, building it, seeing it, and understanding what it takes. And so I'm excited that we can have someone in Congress that's not just talking the talk, but you can say, been there, done that, check my record, and it'll prove to you that I know what I'm doing and I have a heart for my constituents. So I'm really, really excited that you're running. Gloria?
Thank you.
Portia, let me tell you something. Okay, let me tell you something. First you said Detroit. Okay, that's my hometown. Then you said DC, Baltimore. Then you said Barack Obama.
The trifecta for her.
Oh, forget it. Just forget it. My whole conversation to you was going to be what you just hit on. I think it's so important that we continue to be role models for women to get into politics, because just what you said, because we're in the thick of it. We're there making those decisions. We're there making the purchases. We're there fighting on the line for our children to have formula. We're there doing these things. And so Caterina's question was really great, because we can all support people that are not in our district. And I just want to advertise to everybody, you know, a $10, a $15, a $20 goes a long way when a lot of people do a little bit. So the fact that you are a woman in politics and not saying I got to leave this to do that. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do that, because that's the only way that women can have it all, is to stop trying to think that if I do something, I have to eliminate something else, is that you just get better support. I loved the conversation that a woman made about, I need to think, do I really need you to come into the office? Because you come into office means you're going to be more stressed. I'm going to be more stressed, and your family's going to eat less. And if a woman doesn't speak up like that, it is because you speak like that so many men will start to think like that. Men who are at that place. So I just wanted to applaud you for that. And if you had a word for women that are listening to this show, that, you know, we all got issues and they're on the teeter of being a woman in politics, what would you say to them?
I don't know if it's a word. I would say go for it. You know, the reality of it is that people are, and listen, I am and was fearful taking this on. I have a job, right? Like, so I wasn't like, oh, I need to do this because I don't have, you know, I like to think I don't have an ego that got involved in this. It was really, you know, the retiring Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence called me, asked me to consider running to take her place, which was huge for me to get that endorsement. But the truth of the matter is, I say go for it, because we often allow fear to hold us back, to prevent us from doing things that we know we'd actually be pretty good at. But we are nervous about doing that because it means, you know, it means getting over that fear. So I would say go for it.
Let's talk about this. You need to stop talking, because this right here is fabulous. That's fabulous.
That's fabulous. I can't believe that it is time. It is time. And I love that we're ending this conversation with you telling women to go for it. We need more women in Congress. We need more women sitting at the table making decisions that are going to impact the lives of so many. When I tell you this, go ahead, real quick.
I have to say this really quickly. People trying to think that there are so many women in Congress. There are only 25 Black women in Congress. There are 435 members of Congress. That's not counting the additional 100 in the Senate. So out of 535, there are 25 Black women. We need more Black women.
Wow.
We absolutely do. So again, you guys, we absolutely want you to support Portia for Congress. Her information is on the screen. Donate. Anything will be helpful. $5, $10. Tell your family, tell your friends. We absolutely want to support her. Thank you so much on being on. We got issues on today. We absolutely want to have you back. You've been absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. You guys, we look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. Same place, same time. Have a good one. Don't forget to get up and move. We're day number 5 of the challenge. We'll see you on tomorrow.